All right, so we have an exciting guest here tonight, Marion Leary. I asked her for her bio just so I can read it. She said, listen, friend, it's too long. Just don't read the whole thing. And I was thinking to myself, absolutely not. We're going to read about all of your accomplishments. That's why we're here. So let me tell you about Marion, who's the Director of Innovation at the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing. And as the Director of Innovation, she works to amplify and educate nurses as leaders in health and healthcare innovation. Marion is a member of the American Nurses Association Innovation Advisory Committee and a founding member of the Society of Sanciel. I wasn't going to read all of that, Marion. She's a host of the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing podcast, Amplify Nursing, and a contributor to the American Nurses Association's official journal, The American Nurse, as part of the My Nurse Influencers column. In May of 2022, she was selected as one of the most powerful LGBTQIA+ people in Pennsylvania by both the city and state. In August of 2019, she was named as an Influencer of Healthcare winner in the category of Excellence in Innovation by the Philadelphia Inquirer. And in 2017, I love this, she was named Geek of the Year for her outstanding achievements in Philadelphia's vibrant geek community in the areas of innovation, technology, and activism. And before I turn it over to Marion, I just want to thank B. Braun for sponsoring this, this event tonight. We really appreciate them. All right, Marion, take it over.
Thank you, friend. All right, I'm going to share my screen. All right, can you all see presentation view?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So thank you, Sanciel and B. Braun, for having me speak tonight. I really appreciate it. I know a lot of you here, so feel free to jump in and ask questions as I'm moving along. I'd like this to be less of me talking at you and more of us having a conversation, but this is set up sort of as a lecture. So, don't feel like you can't just stop me at any time. So I'm going to be talking with you today about creating an innovation ecosystem within your nursing practice. So for some context, Hiam gave a really good background, so I'm just going to skip through this and just say that I do have one disclosure. The co-I of a project that I'll be talking about in a little while that was funded through the Reed and Alex Hillman Foundation. All right, so over the past few years, nursing organizations have started to realize the importance of nurses leading in health and healthcare innovation, with the International Council of Nurses stating that innovation is central to improving healthcare quality. This was followed up in 2020 with the Future of Nursing 2020-2030 report that supported these assertions, stating that knowledge and skill and innovation will be an important competency for nurses in order to change the prevailing healthcare paradigm, recommending competencies in human-centered design and an innovative mindset. So how do we do this? How do we prepare nurses as leaders in health and healthcare innovation? This talk is going to review the process that we took at Penn Nursing, which we laid out in a recently published article entitled Creating an Innovation Infrastructure in Academic Nursing. This talk is going to provide 12 steps for creating this ecosystem at your institution. I'm going to use examples that we've done at Penn Nursing to highlight these steps. Obviously, I work at an academic institution, not a health system, so I tried to adapt accordingly, but not all examples may apply. You'll really have to think about how to establish these things at the institution where you work. All right, so not surprisingly, the first step of creating this innovation ecosystem is defining what innovation means to you and your organization. So what does that term mean? Innovation means many things to many different people and disciplines. Developing your institution's definition of innovation is the first step to guiding the development of your innovation program. At Penn Nursing, we define innovation as the application of something new or different that delivers value. It's really about the solving of pressing problems using rigorous methodological approaches infused with creativity and risk-taking. It's not just about widgets or technologies, but really the methodologies we use to solve problems, the systems and processes we create, the ways that we educate our students, and how we communicate with our patients, their families, and the community at large. All of these things for us at Penn Nursing is included in the definition of innovation. And you'll see as this talk goes on, all of the goals, all of the products that we create, all the things we do are based around all of these different areas of innovation. All right, so once you set your definition, you now need to establish your goals. Setting your overall innovation strategic goals should provide the foundation to prioritize projects and activities that align with your institutional needs, serving as a benchmark against which progress can be measured. At Penn Nursing, we based our goals on our school's mission of research, education, and practice. Therefore, our strategic goals were to embed a culture of innovation within that mission, to create a cadre of nurse innovators and entrepreneurs, to be the go-to institution for nurse-led innovation, and to establish Penn Nursing, and really nurses in general, as leaders in health and healthcare innovation. So, we're moving quickly through these. After you set your goals, you then can begin to build the infrastructure. And this is really where it becomes so critical. During this phase, you'll want to think about a number of things, including how you're going to tie innovation to professional and institutional priorities. And again, these priorities were based on the strategic goals we just talked about. You'll want to engage with key stakeholders within your institution, but also external to your institution, and find champions of the process. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then finally, you're going to have a strong and committed internal and external advisory committee. This is really, really important. The vast majority of the work that we do at Penn Nursing is formed by and in partnership with our internal faculty committee as seen here, as well as our Innovation Board of Advisors, which is made up of external members. And these members include entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, other nurse and clinical leaders in the innovation space. So these are people who sit outside of Penn Nursing, but feel committed to helping Penn Nursing lead this culture of innovation. We meet periodically with both groups throughout the year to discuss and plan our innovation agendas for the coming years. We also sometimes include students in our innovation advisory committees as well, which is really important. In addition to the innovation committee, you'll need people to lead and do the work. That's where I came in. At Penn Nursing, when they were first starting to think about these priorities, they brought me in 1 day a week to help determine what an innovation program might look like. That quickly became 3 days a week. That quickly turned into me being appointed as the first director of innovation at Penn Nursing. So I run the innovation program with my colleague, Dr. Terry Richmond, who's the Associate Dean for Research and Innovation. And buy-in from leaders at the top is key. So this is the point where I also want to thank Dean Tony at Penn Nursing for her innovation vision. Without Dr. Richmond and Dean Tony, the innovation program really wouldn't be what it is today. So next you have to develop faculty in order to cultivate champions. And this is where it takes a village. Buy-in from faculty is really important, but cultivating them as champions in innovation is equally as important. So you have to develop faculty and staff around your definition and goals of your innovation program, and then invest in resources specifically to develop faculty in this area. And you can do this in a variety of ways, both within your organization and also taking advantage of other local and online resources. So you want to take the time to explore what's available within and beyond your institution. For example, many universities offer commercialization workshops, innovation courses, seminars, etc., that can be used to complement any programs you're doing within your institution or setting. At Penn Nursing, when we were first starting to develop our faculty as champions, we used a number of programs both at Penn, such as through the Wharton Mack Institute and the Wharton Nurse Leaders Program, as well as externally through programs such as IDEO, which is a global innovation and design thinking company. Now we also have faculty and students go through our Design Thinking for Health platform, which I'm going to talk about a little later. Outside of courses that faculty and staff can take, you want to support your innovation champions in actively learning, actively experiencing the innovation and design process through competitions and other seminars and ways of learning about innovation. So innovation's not easy, and you're going to want to promote successes as well as celebrate lessons learned from failures. Failure is going to happen. We have to be okay with it and embrace it. We have a hard time with that in healthcare and academia, but it is a big part of innovation, and you learn a lot from it. And so we always support and learn from any failures we have. You also want to target workshops, innovation speaker series, and seminars as a way to develop interest in innovation by faculty and staff, but also students, and showcase your innovation and goals and priorities that way as well. So every semester we hold a couple innovation colloquiums on topics of interest. This past semester, we did a topic on the need for nurse engineers. Coming up in October, we're doing an innovation colloquium around how organizations are supporting nurse-led innovation. That's taking place October 26th at 12 p.m. on Zoom. You can sign up on our website, and we're going to have a panel discussion with our very own Hiam Nadell, President-elect of SunCL, Ori Boudreau from ANA Innovation, and Linda Benton from Johnson & Johnson Nursing. So you'll want to definitely check that out. We've also developed faculty in collaboration with our colleagues at the Penn Medicine Center for Healthcare Innovation. We're really lucky at Penn to have this Center for Healthcare Innovation that focuses on working on real healthcare problems using the design methodology. And so early on in this process, we had multiple faculty members do year-long fellowships at the Center for Healthcare Innovation to learn and put into practice the innovation process. And these faculty members have now gone on to be the champions of innovation at Penn Nursing. They sit on our advisory boards. We do multiple innovation and entrepreneurship programs together with these faculty who were developed and have bought into innovation in this way. Additionally, we have invited innovation thought leaders to spend a few days in small group meetings with our faculty, staff, and students to help all constituents envision how innovation applies to their own lines of inquiry and research. We've done this for 3 years now in conjunction with our Penn Nursing Innovation Accelerator program, which I'm going to talk a little bit about later on. We've had leaders like Dr. Bonnie Clipper, who was the former VP of the ANA Innovation, Ernesto Hooligan, who is a nurse and started his own startup company, and once again, my friend and colleague, Hiam Nadell, who've all come and spent days with our faculty, staff, and students, talking with them about their innovation and entrepreneurship work and providing mentorship. It's really key to have these thought leaders come and talk with students and, again, faculty and clinicians, and inspiring them to be champions at their institutions. All right, so moving on, you really want to be able to create an innovation ecosystem, not just by cultivating faculty and staff, but it's really important to integrate your innovation goals and priorities across all administrative units. And I think this probably gets overlooked a lot, and I can't really say more about how important it is. The vast majority of the work I do in my role includes working with our administrative groups, such as marketing and communication, development, events, IT, and others. And these groups can all be really important, are a really important part of moving your innovation mission forward. So you want to consider your institution's administrative structure and the synergies that exist as you implement your program and priorities. For example, you can work with your development office and Office of Alumni Relations to help forge connections and relationships that are aligned with your priorities. So are there nurses who've graduated from your program or work at your institution who are innovating, who have started companies, who you can bring back as mentors or guest speakers? You want to work with your marketing communications team to create innovation content for different media platforms and to promote the innovation work your nurses are doing at your institution. Their marketing communication is so crucial to amplifying your nurses as leaders in this space. And so you really want to work with them so that they understand your priorities and what you're working on and working toward. So once you've built that strong foundation internally, you want to then begin building bridges across your institution. So you're starting locally within your nursing program or institution, branching out to your institution, and then out externally. And so this next part, you really want to scan your environment and meet with innovation leaders in other departments, schools, or institutions to understand what they're doing and how you might work together, and then maintain those relationships and develop them over time. It's definitely not a quick process, but one that will absolutely bear fruit. So through these relationships, new workshops can be created, guest lectures provided, and cross collaborations on innovation and entrepreneurship projects can occur. So we've done a lot of this over the last 5 years at Penn Nursing, working across campus on a variety of new initiatives. For example, I sat on the executive leadership committee for Penn Health Tech, which is a group led by Penn Engineering and Penn Medicine, focusing on the development of medical devices and healthcare technology. Many of our Penn Nursing Accelerator teams have now been made up of nurses and engineers and have gone on to receive funding from the health tech community. In addition, I also chair the relatively new Penn Libraries Biotech Commons and work closely with our library colleagues on a variety of innovation and entrepreneurship opportunities. If you have librarians or library at your institution, they are doing more innovation than you probably even realize, and they are the best kept secret on any campus and at any organization. So highly suggest reaching out to them as well. In addition, other faculty members at Penn Nursing now sit on cross-collaborative boards and committees, including the relatively new Wharton Penn Design and School of Engineering building called Tengen Hall, which provides incubator space, maker spaces, and test kitchens for students across campus. We have nursing students now represented on the Tengen Hall Student Advisory Board. And again, all of this is really just to have nurses at the table leading in these spaces where in the past they may not have been. And so having student nurses on this student advisory board, having myself and others sit on these Wharton engineering design boards is really important. We also have a really cool new collaborative with Penn's School of Engineering and Penn Nursing called the Community Collaboratory for Co-Creation, which is which engages the community to help them co-design solutions to the problems they're experiencing in their community. None of these partnerships could have happened without the active building of bridges for the past 5 years across Penn's campus. So now when Penn is looking at innovation, Penn Nursing is at the top of the list of those leading in that space on campus. which is what you want to build toward. And that really all came from a group called the Penn Innovation and Entrepreneurship Group. So I highly suggest, as another step in this building bridges, is to reach out to your institution and universities to collaborate. See if they have an innovation and entrepreneurship group already. If so, start attending those meetings. They're a tremendous way to learn about the innovation work going on at your institution and to build these relationships and collaborations, both for faculty and for students. So this Penn Innovation and Entrepreneurship Group is made up of faculty and staff across every department at Penn, including Penn Libraries, Penn Dental. We have lawyers, we have engineers, we have physicians, we have nurses, we have educators, as well as folks from our partnering institutions such as CHOP and the VA. It is an amazing group of like-minded individuals on Penn's campus who just want to do cool things and collaborate. We were meeting quarterly in person pre-pandemic, and actually our last group meeting was before the pandemic was at Penn Nursing and hosted by Penn Nursing. And then during the pandemic, we were meeting monthly on Zoom. And we just had our first in-person meeting last week in 3 years together. And I can't say more about how important these cross-collaborative groups are. I'll say that I probably now collaborate with 95% of the people in this picture. And those relationships were built over the past, again, 3 to 5 years in this role. All right, so after you've done the hard work of making connections and planning, you want to start making strides as leaders in this space through marketing your expertise. This is really important. We need to amplify the breadth, depth, experience, and knowledge of nurses leading in health and healthcare innovation. And the only way to do that is to market it outside of your institution as well. So creating awareness externally will communicate with health and healthcare organizations and the innovation and business community your expertise and leadership in this area. So original content creation is really important. Content such as podcasts, blogs, traditional news media, and social media are central to establishing your institution as an active partner and leader in innovation. So at Penn Nursing, we host a podcast called Amplify Nursing, which highlights the innovation and entrepreneurship work nurses are doing both internally and externally to Penn. We also host Twitter chats on innovation and entrepreneurship topics, as well as other social media events, such as on Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, which are audio social media platforms. Stay tuned. We have a new TikTok project coming soon, which I think is going to be really fun. So you want to give careful thought to the products that your institution produces, or that you're interested in developing, and how you can use those in multiple different ways, both with education in mind, especially at Penn Nursing. We are an educational institution, as well as how you're going to infuse this content throughout your organization. We use our podcasts, Story Slam videos, and other multimedia products in our classrooms so that we can highlight the health and healthcare topics that are being taught, as well as to promote Penn Nursing to potential incoming students. I also know that a variety of other nursing schools and programs are using some of our content now in their nursing classes as well. So all of these products are on our website and free to use, and you can actually search by health and healthcare topic or speaker. So if you're teaching a class on, say, heart failure, you can search for any content that we create on the podcast or in other ways and use that in your classroom to highlight the topics that you're teaching. Blogs are also another really good way to promote your institution, its faculty, staff, and students as experts in the areas of innovation and entrepreneurship. I have a monthly column, like he mentioned, in the American Nurse, and every other month or so, I have a student co-write a blog post with me around these topics. This really helps our students establish themselves as leaders in this space and gives them a sense of ownership around these topics. So some of the topics have been on, requiring design thinking in the nursing curriculum, why students should get involved in hackathons, and hot off the press, that was just published today, is an article co-written by a nurse and MBA student on why nurses make the perfect MBA candidates. So you can read that here. So again, good way for students who are living these experiences and learning about these things to put pen to paper and just give them a platform and a voice to share their thoughts on these topics and get them more engaged in nurse-led innovation and entrepreneurship. We also have faculty, staff, and students publish articles in peer-reviewed journals, as well as on topics such as the use of design thinking, hackathons, and storytelling, and more. Again, good way to market your institution and your nurses' expertise in these areas. Finally, marketing your expertise also means speaking at conferences about the work that you're doing. Obviously, we're an academic institution after all, so speaking at conferences is a thing. But not just at nursing conferences, we need to be at innovation and entrepreneurship conferences as well. Other innovators and entrepreneurs need to see nurses leading in these spaces. So we really do try to get out to innovation conferences to do talks. So, a group of faculty and students presented at the Citywide Innovation Festival back in 2019 in Philadelphia. And again, just this past September at our Philly Innovation Conference. It's a great way to show, again, local innovation and entrepreneurship community, what Penn Nursing is up to and how we're leading in this space. So if you have local innovation and entrepreneurship conferences, consider submitting abstracts and presenting, doing talks about the work that your nurses are leading in. All right, so the next really important step to consider is how you will transform research work that you're doing at your institution into practice. So innovation and research are often intersecting together, and they can be a powerful tool for moving discoveries into practice. So schools of nursing and nurses should be the go-to for companies looking to solve problems creatively and efficiently in health and healthcare. Transforming research into practice can provide a strong foundation when growing your innovation program. Commercialization is one effective way to transform research into new products, services, and businesses. In addition, such resources can assist in identifying, protecting, and commercializing scientific breakthroughs and technological advances that your nurses may be creating. And we're doing this multiple ways at Penn Nursing, including with our Innovation Accelerator. So the Penn Nursing Innovation Accelerator started back in 2019, 2020, and it provides funding, mentorship, and education to assist students, faculty, and clinicians with the commercialization or scale up of their innovative ideas. And so it is a 3-round process that ultimately was set up as an educational opportunity and a connection point with the goal of teaching Penn Nursing students, faculty, and clinicians the entrepreneurial process while helping them turn their ideas into reality. So the 3-step process starts with an online application where we talk to them about putting together a problem statement. Round 2 are in-person interviews where they get an educational session from our Wharton business librarians around how to put together a business model canvas and helping them work on their low fidelity prototypes. And then round 3 is our final pitch event where we provide them with mentorship and feedback around their pitch and pitch deck. Again, all of these things are done so that even if the applicants don't make it through to the accelerator program, they're still learning some necessary tools and resources and education around the innovation process. And then for those who make it through the accelerator program, they go through a 10-month program where they're being mentored and educated specifically around their innovation needs to help them either scale it up, scale it out, or commercialize it, whatever makes sense to them. Like I mentioned, we began the Innovation Accelerator in 2019 and had multiple teams apply and go through, and still working with many of the teams who've gone through the program over the past few years. Our 3 winning teams earlier this year were made up of Penn Nursing and Penn Engineering students, Penn Nursing faculty, as well as Penn Medicine nursing clinicians, all focusing on a variety of different topics, including process innovation, as well as mobile health apps and creating new technologies. Which leads really nicely to step number 10, which is enhancing innovation education, which is really where it's all about for me in the work that I'm doing. And in the work that we want to be doing at Penn Nursing, which is educating the next generation of nurses as leaders in this innovation and entrepreneurship space. So as we know, innovation is not always a core component of the nursing curriculum, which means solutions are typically one-offs. We have nurses who are constantly solving the same problem, and they're not being scaled up or scaled out in their institution or beyond. And so we really want to be able to educate nurses to see themselves not only as leaders in innovation, but as somebody who can then take it to the next level and commercialize it, or again, do the entrepreneurial thing and move it throughout their institution. So infusing innovation education throughout the entire curriculum from undergrad through to the doctoral level is really key to nurses taking their ideas from bedside and again, moving them on. Innovation education needs to be done in multiple ways through traditional classroom learning, but also through active learning opportunities, as both of these things need to be cultivated in order to really learn the intricacies of the innovation process. So I mentioned a little while ago about the innovation in health course. So at Penn Nursing, I teach this class called Innovation in Health, Foundations of Design Thinking. It's an interdisciplinary active learning approach to using design thinking in healthcare. And it is a foundational course where students learn about the design thinking process. Design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation that integrates the needs of the people for whom you're designing for. It is a 5-step process that starts with empathy, moves on to define, ideate, prototype, and test. And though it looks like a linear process, it is really iterative, where you're going back and forth between phases to really understand the problem from the point of view of the people, again, whom you're designing for, to really understand their needs and create an accurate solution. It is a co-collaborative, creative process. And this process fits really nicely into the work we do as nurses, because the innovation process is the nursing process. So you see here, you have the design thinking process, again, of empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test. But it also matches nicely with the nursing process, where you're assessing the patient, determining the problem, making a plan, intervening, and evaluating. As my colleague, Dr. Kathy Bowles says, it's the nursing process, it's in the innovation cycle, it all goes together, which is why it should be pretty natural for nurses to be innovating. And so in the Innovation in Health class, we use a platform called Design Thinking for Health, which is a free online open access platform where nurses can learn about innovation and design thinking. This platform was created in partnership with the Rita and Alex Hillman Foundation. On that platform, we have a number of original content that anyone can use in their classrooms, in their health systems, to learn about design thinking. We have documentary videos on nurses from around the country, as well as podcast videos, podcast episodes, and more. We have a brand new video that was just released earlier this year with Dr. Margot Brooks Carthon. So highly recommend checking that out. She talks about her Thrive program, which helps low-resourced patients once they leave the hospital. So we're using the human-centered design and innovation course as the foundational course at Penn Nursing for our students, but we really do think about other ways of infusing design thinking throughout the entire curriculum at Penn Nursing. And one of those ways that we've been doing this is integrating design thinking and human-centered design into other courses as well. One course does not make an innovation education program, and so really thinking thoughtfully about how we can infuse this into other classes. And so one of the classes that we're doing that in is our pediatrics course. So students receive an introductory talk about design thinking from me, and then they have to use that knowledge to create a developmentally appropriate nursing care plan. They use the design thinking steps to make sure they are understanding the diagnosis and the problem as it relates to their patient and family, and then they go on to create that care plan using the design thinking steps. It's just one way to introduce design thinking and innovation earlier in the curriculum to undergrad students. We're also infusing it throughout all the levels at Penn Nursing. So for example, for our graduate students in their civic engagement course, in their primary care nurse practitioner course around civic engagement, we have another similar project where students get a introductory lecture on design thinking from me, and then they have to use design thinking for their civic engagement assignment, looking at reducing disparities and improving community health through the process, identifying issues that impact the communities. All these things, again, go really nicely together because this is what nurses are already doing. We're just giving them this methodological framework to use. And then all the way through to our doctoral level, we're also infusing design thinking. So recently, we launched our DNP Executive Leadership Program, where the design thinking methodology is the foundational component to the work they're doing in their DNP program. So the students go through periodic design thinking sessions over the 2-year program to help them form the basis for their projects. So again, infusing it throughout the entire curriculum, all the way from undergrad, all the way through to the doctoral level. And all of this focus on infusing education throughout the entire curriculum leads to the last 2 critical steps: positioning our students to lead in healthcare innovation and positioning nurses to drive and inform health and healthcare. So in order to prepare the next generation of nurse leaders in innovation, nurses and nursing programs must start educating students in innovation, as mentioned previously, but we also need to encourage students as leaders in this space. And this can be done not only through the integration of innovation and design topics into the curriculum, but through hands-on active learning opportunities. We really have to start developing opportunities for students and clinicians to expand their thought process and to embrace innovation through active learning environments. And there's many ways to do this. Hands-on experiences are really an important way to engage with other innovation groups and provide an active learning experience. There's no shortage of ways to do this. And as I'm sure you're all aware, one of our favorite ways is through hackathons. But there's also healthcare innovation challenges, accelerators, and incubators. So for those who don't know, hackathons are compact events that generally take place over a weekend in order to actively determine a problem and create a solution among interdisciplinary teams using the innovation methodology. Throughout this event, participants learn how to use the design thinking methodology of identifying a problem, defining the problem, brainstorming, and then prototyping and quickly testing and iterating their solutions. Hackathons are a great way to inspire nurses interested in innovation and for nurses to meet other nurses, designers, engineers, entrepreneurs who are also interested in solving problems in health and healthcare. It is a great active learning environment and experiences for nurses to learn and then lead in this space. In 2019, 2 of my innovation students participated in their first hackathon sponsored by Sunciel and J&J. Both of their teams won first and third place at the event. Both of those students took the innovation in health class. Just saying, could be a some sort of parallel there. And I was really proud of the work that they did at the hackathon. The first place team was led by Anthony Scarpone Lambert, who was an undergrad at the time and has now gone on to take that idea that he won first place at the hackathon and create a very successful company called Lumify Care. Anthony was the first nursing student at Penn to ever win the President's Innovation Prize, which is a pretty big deal, provides a lot of funding and time compensation for students to work on ventures. And so Anthony was able to take what he did at the hackathon, then translate that into the Penn Innovation Prize, and now has, like I said, a very successful company. There's so many other examples of this, though. Many of the students who've taken the Innovation in Health course have participated in the nurse hackathons and have gone on to do other innovative things. Another example of this is my student, John, who took the Innovation in Health class, participated in the hackathon, was then a TA in the class, helping other students learn about innovation. Like I said, he participated in the hackathon last year and was so inspired by it that he co-wrote a blog post about how nursing students can get involved in hackathons, and also wrote an article for the Penn Nursing magazine entitled "The Case for Innovation, Education, and Nursing Schools." He really drank the Kool-Aid and is so engaged in innovation and entrepreneurship. He was also really lucky to win a scholarship to the Drexel Sunciel certificate program from his participation in the hackathon. And at that program, he learned even more about innovation and entrepreneurship, and is considering now how he's going to infuse those skills into his nursing practice once he graduates this year. So supporting students as they enter and compete in these initiatives is really essential to infusing innovation, not only at your institution, but externally when these nurses and students start their practice. As a note, the Drexel certificate program is open to all nurses, and you can find out more on the Sunciel website. All right, so I think you could probably tell I'm a firm believer in exposing students and clinicians to innovation, knowledge, and experiences leads to nurses innovating. So just a couple more examples of that. I had a group of students who took the Innovation in Health course a few years ago. From what they created as a low fidelity prototype in that course, they then applied for our Penn Nursing Innovation Accelerator program and won, and have now also created a company around helping to prevent kids with autism from eloping. This team was made up of an NP student, a PhD student, and a Wharton business student. And so, again, exposing students in the classroom and beyond really does then help propel them to lead in innovation. Finally, a really cool project that we just wrapped up this past semester. We had students who, again, were in the Innovation and Health course. We partnered with Penn Design. So we had 2 Penn nursing students and 2 Penn Design students work on a real design thinking project with Penn medicine clinicians on the new ED pavilion. The students worked meticulously through the design thinking process in this real life setting with clinicians for whom the problem was affecting. They spent multiple hours interviewing and observing in the environment where the problem was taking place, so in the ED pavilion, to really, again, understand the problem. They performed co-creation sessions collaboratively with the clinical end users, and created low fidelity prototypes that are now being tested in the emergency department. If we provide the opportunities to our students, faculty, and clinicians inside and outside the classroom, they will innovate and they will lead, and it will make a difference. And it's not just about nursing students and faculty, though. Health systems, partnerships need to create opportunities for clinicians to work together to transform healthcare and advance nurse-led innovation, both in the university setting and in the healthcare setting. And multiple approaches can be used to move this forward. At Penn, we have something called an academic practice partnership, where we work with our health system partners on projects such as innovation projects. So we've partnered many times with clinicians at Penn Medicine around our Innovation Accelerator program and many other programs. If your institution does not have such a partnership, consider reaching out either across university or across health systems to see if something like that could start. See if they have a director of innovation. And if they don't, magnet coordinators are really a good source for nurse-led innovation at your hospital setting. All right, so the future of innovation in nursing is ultimately directly impacted by the education and experience that are developed and received. We must continue to question the degree to which our education equips nurses with the mindset and innovative approaches necessary to solve challenging problems in a complex world. As we move into the future, it's going to be essential that we create a foundation of innovation for the next generation of nurse leaders. Therefore, innovation must be a central driver of the work we do and the education we provide. If we do this, we will achieve a clear, concise, coherent, and unified message around nursing innovation and further solidify the innovation ecosystem within the profession. So I encourage everybody to go out and innovate. And with that, I am happy to take any questions.
Marion, that was so impressive. I heard this talk earlier, and you just have developed so many more things. It's incredible. I wanted to ask you, when you mentioned you went there for 1 day and then 3 days. Were there like what was the pivotal experience or solution or project that you worked on to let them see that that's what should have happened?
Yeah, it's a great question. It wasn't one thing. I think it was multiple things. After we laid out the priorities, we started to sort of lay out what the different projects would be to help us get there. And having a 1 day a week or 3 day a week person wasn't going to be it. It was the foundational course. It was the innovation accelerator for our, the course for our students, the accelerator for the faculty, the innovation colloquiums. It was multiple things where we knew we had a program. It wasn't just a one-off thing. We didn't want to just, we wanted to have substance. Right. And to have substance, we needed people to create the substance and move them forward.
Got it. And I'll call people out from my screen. Susan, you want to go next? I see your hand up.
Hi, Marion. Thank you. I'm kind of your neighbor. I'm next door in Delaware. So we're really interested in what you're doing. I wanted to ask you, I mean, a big part of this has to do with finances. We don't have a teaching hospital associated with this, is one thing, but how did you get the funding to get this going? Because anything that doesn't come with, cash associated with it tends to be, in a university, tends to have some real frowny faces, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and it wasn't from one source. It was a lot of scrappy sources, and a lot of, again, buy-in from our leadership. So, we had some initial funding to support my position to get this going from, Penn nursing leadership. We also received a lot of support from our board of advisors, so gifts from those external individuals. And then, I try and write a lot of grants to support the programs that we're working on as well. So it's definitely multiple components, but you need buy-in from your institution. Like, if you don't have that, it's going to be really hard to move something like this forward.
And one more while I still have you. What are you doing about IP in terms of who gets intellectual property, how do you manage that in terms of who gets credit for it, or in funding, who gets paid for what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a Penn. Penn has their long established IP process. So we work very, very closely with our Penn Center for Innovation, which is the old tech transfer office. We have our own Penn Center for Innovation representative who is assigned to us. Each school has their own person. Dr. Melissa Kelly is ours. She's incredible. I work with her as closely as almost anyone. And so anytime we're talking about any sort of innovation or entrepreneurial endeavor, she's involved in that. She's involved from the very beginning for our Innovation Accelerator program. And anytime we have any gifts or grants, to make sure that there's, we're not losing IP anywhere. We're very aware of that and work very closely with Penn on that.
Thanks so much for sharing.
Sure.
And I'm just going to read, I love this from Kristen. I especially appreciated hearing that all this fabulousness didn't suddenly occur. It took 5+ years to grow. It makes it feel much more possible. And I think in any innovation, it takes, even though you can iterate and do things very quickly, but then the path to commercialization and all of this can take several years as well. And I think it's so you can't just give up. You just got to keep going.
Yep.
Wanda, I'll go with you next.
So, hello, Mary. How are you doing?
Hi, Wanda.
So with you started with the presentation, framing it as human-centered design, and then we went into the design thinking. So how is it that human-centered design is integrated into the way the process works?
Human-centered design is really the global methodology. Design thinking is the 5-step framework, right? So human-centered design is really a way of looking at, co-collaborating and creating with the people who the problem affects. But design thinking is the process that you use, that empathy, define, ideate, prototype, test. So they're very much interrelated. And actually, most people that I know use them sort of interchangeably, except that design thinking really does include the 5-step process.
Okay. So I predominantly work with community health centers, and we have about 28,000 nurses working in health centers across the country. Your design thinking, what you have online, would that be enough to get nurses kind of exposed to this way of thinking, kind of, inoculate them a little bit? Because some people talk a lot about innovation, but they're really not doing innovation. It's really, and getting people to understand the difference is, you don't want to be insulting, but it's like what you're doing is not innovation. You're just, adding stuff, beautiful sprinkles to something, but that's not really changing the way we're trying to address the problem.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, which is why, again, the first step of any of this is define what innovation means to you and or your profession or whomever you're innovating for and with. But yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, obviously, I think the design thinking for health platform is a good way to introduce nurses to innovation and design thinking. It was set up as an asynchronous platform where nurses can learn
Okay.
each of these different components. Yes,
Yeah.
more to come on that soon, but that's going to be having a really nice overhaul to the design thinking for health platform in the next year or two, focusing on health equity and adding a lot more to that platform. So I think it's going to be a tremendous resource for nurses in this area. But you know, I'm biased, so.
Well, I want to thank you because it is open source and that's what we need to do more of.
Yep.
I think Greg had his hand up next.
Yeah, hi. Really great presentation. It's really great to actually hear you speak. I've been fanning out a little bit on LinkedIn. So I was really psyched that you were the main speaker today. Also, a big thank you to Sancio for even becoming a society. It's really, really a big deal to have a professional organization backing nursing innovation, as well as entrepreneurs and scientists. I'm a DNP student at Yale School of Nursing right now. My project is to implement a nursing innovation program at a not so much an academic, but a nonprofit medical center. So with that being said, we do have Cedars-Sinai Accelerator here, but there is a major, a bit of a gap between nurses taking a part in that. And I'm wondering if you have any advice for people that might have an accelerator or incubator to kind of get their foot in the door there and to start bridging that gap.
So do you mean, and I might bring Hiem in on this because she's on the health system side, but do you mean when you say getting your foot in the door, participating in that, or helping to organize it? Can you just elaborate a little more on that?
I would say any of the above.
Well, I mean, I think, and Hiem, jump in if you want. Really, like, it just is showing up, telling the group that, you know, you're doing this thing as nurses, and that, you know, seeing how you can be a part of it. All of the things that we're involved in throughout Penn now happened because we said, hey, nurses are innovating, nurses are doing entrepreneurship. We need to be at the table when these things are happening. We weren't invited 5 years ago, we weren't invited to anything. Nobody even knew nurses did anything like this. Now people come directly to us from Penn's campus because we keep showing up. We're involved in everything that's going on, and it's really just showing up and telling people that you're here and you're doing these things and you want to be involved. In terms of applying, I mean, that is sometimes a little bit harder because you have to encourage your nursing clinician colleagues to apply to these things, which is hard with time constraints and clinical responsibilities and things like that. But, you know, that's where Hiem's doing, you know, great work at Mass General, supporting nurses in applying to programs like this. And I'll let Hiem jump in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Marion. You just push your way through and say, hey, I'm here. But also just strategically, what I've learned, my experience is that you really, if you want to start an innovation program, try to be strategic in the problems you solve initially. And so we thought about, you know, what was, you know, we first started out trying to solve CLABSI infections because we knew that the health system, they don't get paid if they don't meet their numbers and CLABSI infections. So we really went after that, and they were amazed and got everybody's attention once the nurses innovated around that. And so you just slowly build that credibility and that trust, and then just say, I'm at this table. I would like to join you because we might have some things to offer. They don't even think about it. It's not that they disinvite you. You're just not on their radar. And so you want to get on their radar.
Yeah, it's the simplest and easiest way to start is just to put yourself on people's radar and keep showing up, even if you're not specifically invited. Someone asked a question in the chat, if I keep up with students after they've graduated, see if their work with your program influenced their practice. And I'll be honest, I haven't done that specifically. However, I constantly have students coming back to me, telling me what they're working on, asking me to mentor them or help them with other innovation ideas or projects. My goal is to eventually start capturing some of this. And I was working with my alumni relations office. I think it was probably right before the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic hit, and we all know what happened then. So that's actually a good reminder that I do need to reignite that project. I'll add it to my list of things that will probably never get done, but should.
But just to put in a plug for Olga Kagan and the research committee that are looking at what happens really to nurses that attend a hackathon and trying to do some long-term studies. Do they build confidence? Do they go on and do things? So hopefully we can still continue to study that a little bit further. But I don't know, Olga, if you want to say anything to that.
Hi there. Well, yes, absolutely. We're looking, and any success stories coming out of hackathons, we'd love to hear about them, because if we're not capturing them and we're not documenting, just like in nursing, if you didn't get documented, it didn't happen. So we want to make sure that these things actually go on record. And at some point we might be reaching out. So, and if we haven't reached out, please reach out to us. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I'm also in the PhD program part-time. And so I just did just had a paper published this morning, actually, my qualifying exam, which was a literature review on who's using design thinking and human-centered design and innovating in healthcare. And there's not a lot from nurses and not a lot about nurses. And so we need to do a lot more publishing of the work that we're doing, which, is easier said than done. But, there definitely is a limit to the data that's out there.
Yeah, we were trying to research how many nurses actually filed for patents. Now, part of it is it's the way when you file a patent, they don't ask for your credentials. So there's really no way to know, but there was like nothing.
Well, and we know that their number of patents from women are just scarce.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting. See, so we are all blazing a path.
Yeah, we are. Go team.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? We agree, Wanda.
Yep,
We're trying hard.
100,000%.
Yes.
100,000%.
I'm sorry, I did have one question. So I looked at your certificate program and it looks like it's only open to Penn faculty and staff at this point in time. This is a certificate program. Is that still the case?
Which certificate program?
The innovation, the graduate certificate in healthcare innovation.
Oh, well, so that is, that is a Penn course. Anybody can apply to, but you have to be a student at Penn.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a Penn program, not specific to nursing, however.
Okay.
And that healthcare certificate program, I think, is more focused on like administrative leadership and less about the innovation, I think, that we're talking about. And this is where the definition of innovation comes into play. You really want to know what the organization, program, or group means by innovation.
And are you developing one specifically for nurses? Did you say that earlier?
So I don't know.
Sorry, if you're not ready to talk about it.
More to come in 2023. Let's just say that. Stay tuned.
Yeah, in addition to what Marion's going to be doing, that we're in active discussion with Drexel University to do some deeper dive courses that will be offered to our members as well. So in addition to the certificate of innovation entrepreneurship on a weekend, taking some of the, because we're hearing from the students that attended, they really want deeper dive information. So we're thinking about that, and we're looking at that as well.
Yeah, this, I think, we're in the right spot, right time where this is going to really start exploding, I think, in nursing. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities to learn more. Everybody's saying fabulous presentation. I just want to thank everybody for attending and for all of their kind words. And this is an amazing community, and I couldn't do any of what I do without all of you leading the way in all of your areas. So thank you all for taking your Thursday night and spending it with us.
Thank you so much, Marion. You're good for my soul.
You're good for mine. You all are. I miss this group. I was doing something on Thursday nights, so I wasn't able to attend any of these for the past semester, but hopefully I can start attending again.
All right, everybody, don't forget about the Think conference. Oh, somebody else had their hand. Sorry, Jacqueline.
You know what? It's really, it's more of a comment.
Sure.
Attending something like this gives me hope for the future. I listen to this group and I think about how we're changing the education of nursing. I think about when I was in my baccalaureate program, how it was, this is what you're studying, this is what you're studying. It wasn't, how does the nurse participate in the whole of healthcare? It was that segmentation, that silos. This gives me such joy to be like, okay, we're moving, we're getting there. So I just want to thank you all very much.
Every time, every innovation event, everything we do together at Sunciel and the hackathons, it's the same feeling. And it's hard to tell people what that feeling is. They, again, active learning, experiential learning, they have to participate in it to get it. And so we need to get more of our nurse leaders, more of our nursing faculty, students, clinicians to attend these things to like get this feeling in this community. So 100% agree, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I got chills when you said that.
All right, Think conference, right, Hume?
Oh, yes, the Think conference, November. Nico, are you on? I forgot the dates.
It's November 4th and November 5th.
Okay.
Niagara Falls, Canada. We very much look forward to welcoming you all there.
Yep, it's launching our new Canadian chapter, and we're very excited. So hope to see you there. If not, please attend hackathons. More to come. So that's it.
All right.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Well.
Bye-bye. Marion, it was fantastic.
I hope it was all right. It went a little longer. The last time I did it, it was not that long. Maybe I was too chatty. I don't know. So I'm sorry it was so long. When I did
No, don't worry about it.
it for CHOP, I thought it was like 35 minutes. This ended up being 45 minutes. So I don't know.
No worries. Oops.
Cool. Well, thanks for having
All
me.
right, honey.
All right.
It was fantastic.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye.